Sure. So I'm Chrissy Currier. I manage the Strategic Workforce Development Program for Federal Highway, which is a part of Everyday Counts 7. We previously were part of Everyday Counts 6. We had 32 states back then, and now we have 43. So I feel like I know probably half of y'all on this call. I've been running into y'all at various things. Jessica's on our implementation team. James has presented at several things. I even saw LaShondra's on the call, and she was at one of our peer exchanges last week. So we're just all friends and family here. So y'all are probably, I'm speaking to the choir on some of this. Y'all know the need to have people into highway construction, but I'll breeze through some of this and let y'all know. If y'all have any questions, let me know. So are y'all seeing just the main slide right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is it doing it correctly? Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Yes, so as y'all know, there are not enough people in the industry, and we're specifically talking, what I'm talking about here is the heavy highway construction field. And drilling down a little more is we're specifically looking at the contractors workforce, because we have several states out of our 43 that also are using these same kind of ideas and best practices to try to work on hiring within the DOT, like the maintenance shop and things like that, or to try to get trainees in the door. But we're not really talking about STEM here. We are talking about heavy highway construction and getting people on the job and to help the contractors. So got some stats up there. I mean, everybody, you see the help wanted signs, y'all see them, same as me. Every industry needs it, but we really need it, especially with all the money that's coming in through the infrastructure bill. There's so many projects that we're hearing about. I'm personally hearing about it, just saying, hey, we can't let the project or anything because they didn't get enough bids in, or the bids were crazy high because they've got to pay people a lot more money to get people to come over and work in this industry versus working in healthcare or something like that. So we are well aware of the need. And so on this slide, y'all can see, I mean, here's what's going on. When we're not having enough workers, we're having project delays. AGC, y'all have seen their stats probably, the Associated General Contractors, every year they have their survey, and it came out that 2/3 of contractors are having project delays because they cannot get the people to do the job. And we're also having skills gaps. So you might be able to hire people, but they will not have the correct skills. So quite a few of our DOTs that we're working with are developing training academies. They're working with contractors, institutes of higher education to try to provide, to fill that gap, to try to get people trained in either OSHA 10, flagger training, CDLs, very popular nowadays. Quite a few states are working on CDL programs. And then the other thing we have is kind of the perception. We really need to work on that people need to understand this is a great career. We have discovered within our working group that we need to educate parents. We need to educate guidance counselors, because the younger, like y'all are talking about, K through 12, if you don't get people when they're young, it's hard to get them into the industry later. So we have some initiatives we're trying to work on. I did want to let y'all know we have reports that are going to come in from our 43 states at the end of May that will tell us kind of what they've been doing the past year. And so I can, if y'all like, I can look at that. I can see which states may mention K through 12 programs, if they're working with CTEs, with schools like that. And I could provide a quick summary if anyone is interested in that, because I'm really looking forward to those reports, because with 43 states, I know about quite a few states what they're doing, but there's some states that have been really quiet, and I'm curious to see what they're working on. But the industry perception is huge, and we have been in the news a lot lately about construction with the accident and things, and I'm sure that's on people's mind. But it's a great paying career if you can get into construction, and it is a career. It cannot be, it's a job, but it can become a career for people, and we need to help them and help families. We get one person get a job, you help a family, and you help a community. So y'all are probably aware that this program, Strategic Workforce Development, is a fancy name for what we used to call the Highway Construction Workforce Partnership Program. Back then, we had 6 cities and 6 states that we had started as a pilot. Clark Martin, which many of y'all probably know, he was the program manager for the HCWP. And that just focused on building the highway construction workforce. Our goals were to identify, train, place, and retain individuals into heavy highway construction careers. And we have the exact same goals now with the SWD program, just a different name when it became part of Everyday Counts. So here are the various partnerships that we've been trying to work on. So that's what makes this a little different. Some of y'all are familiar with on-the-job training supportive services, and I've got that on the next slide, but I'll just go right ahead and chat about it. On-the-job training, we had $10 million that go to the states to help with childcare, transportation, subsidies, providing basic remedial training for individuals to get them into heavy highway construction. But Federal Highway only had 10 million, and after we took off some other programs off the top, it left us about 6 million to divvy up among all the states. Well, that's fine and dandy. It's not a lot of money, but states typically did it themselves. So what is new about this initiative in the past few years is we're encouraging partnerships. That is what it's all about. A DOT, a state DOT, a tribal government cannot do it by themselves. You've got to work with the construction industry. You've got to work with the contractors. You've got to work with nonprofits to provide some of these wraparound services. Also, it's great to work with institutes of higher education, be it community colleges or even universities, and workforce boards. That is what was kind of new that came into this a few years back, working with the Department of Labor and the workforce boards, because if you want to find some money, that's who's got the money, Department of Labor and these workforce boards. So again, OJTSS, some of y'all are familiar with that. HCWP feeds right into that, and then voila, it becomes strategic workforce development. So right here is a map of the various states that we had. The smaller map shows the states that were part of Everyday Count 6. We had 32 states, and now we're up to 43. So it's across the nation. Pretty much every DOT has raised their hand and said, hey, we see this as an important initiative. We would love to get some assistance from Federal Highway. And so what we do is try to provide resources and connect the dots. I'm not an expert. People on my team, they're not experts, but we can connect you with states that might be. Like if you're wanting to work with, justice-involved individuals, I'd be like, hey, Texas has a great program, connect you to jobs. If you want to have an interest in construction career day, fine, Florida has that. You want an academy that's doing awesome things, Idaho, I'll put you in touch with Jessica. So we're trying to share those success stories, trying to share the best practices along with the challenges so that everybody can learn from each other. So here we go. This bottom line, our goal to increase the capacity and capability of the highway construction workforce. We try to share these ideas with people. We were selected as part of EDC 6, now 7. We've got another about year and a half to go. So we'll continue having peer exchanges and webinars. Like a week and a half ago, we actually had a fireside chat, Women in Construction. That was it was attended well. It was a great discussion. We had actual journey women that were on the call talking about their career, and then we had a lady, a researcher, and then we also had some of the Chicago Women of Trades. So it was a great discussion. And then last week we had a webinar, a peer exchange. I just mentioned we had 5 states. We had Ohio, Kentucky, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Texas. Yes, 5 states participated last week. And so we try to do events like that. Hopefully y'all will be able to attend some of those. I'm sure most of your states have been touched by SWD in some way. And the last bullet I did want to show y'all on there talks about that we're having emphasis the next year and a half on rural and tribal communities. So you'll start hearing a lot more from us about working with tribes. So I'm even presenting on Thursday to the TTACs, which is the Tribal Technical Assistance Centers that Federal Highway funds. And they've invited a lot of tribal communities and tribal DOTs to sit in on that. And we're going to share some examples from Wisconsin, but we've also connected with North Dakota and Washington State, and even New York. Several states are doing things with tribes that we're just now learning about, and we're trying to share those success stories. So again, partnerships, here are some pictures of our events that we've had recently. We started out our first one almost 2 years ago. On the right-hand side, you'll see outdoors. We actually had an equipment rodeo out in Phoenix when it was over 100 degrees, so that was fun. And then we have other events where we try to bring together, each time we try to bring together about 4 to 5 states, maybe 3 people per state. Keep it pretty small, 20 to 25 people max, so that we can have great discussion and share ideas. So right here are the national partners that we originally, that we started with and that we have continued to work with. We work with AASHTO, obviously with y'all, American Concrete Pavement Association, ARTBA, AGC, NAPA, which is National Asphalt Pavement Association. I'm in conversations now with the National Sand, Gravel, and there's a third word in there, Sand, Gravel, something association. Sorry, I can't recall their full name, but trying to work with just different entities that are in the transportation and the highway contractor space to try to share ideas with each other about how to get people trained and into jobs. So we have our website. I can share the link in the chat when I can see the chat again. We have on our website, we have various case studies. We have copies of our webinars. We have FAQs, just as much information as we can share about what's going on in this space. So the playbook, y'all have I understand y'all have a playbook as well. This one's a little different. This is one that Clark wrote about 4 or 5 years ago, and we just focus on some good results and examples in there. It's based on football. It's talking about plays. Basically, it shares examples and case studies from the pilot locations. And the top one that I'll show right here, that these are kind of the plays. And the number one, at least for this initiative, is to let the industry quarterback your team. They're the ones who are building these projects. They're the ones who are putting in the bids. They're the ones who need the workforce right now to get these projects built. So they need to be part of the solution. There's kind of one of the, let industry quarterback your team. And if we have enough time, I would love to show y'all this video. And it's not because Brandy's y'all's chair. It's because Texas just has I love this program. I am physically located in Texarkana, Texas. So I've been able to go up to Dallas to participate in the Connect You to Jobs graduations. I think it's a wonderful program. TxDOT is tweaking it and expanding it and looking at different lessons learned from this program that they originally started. But this was filmed about, I think I'm going on 6 months, maybe a little longer. And I'd love for y'all to listen. Let me know if you do not hear this when I press play.
U.S. Department of Transportation logo, Federal Highway Administration.
I just want to say thank you to everybody for being here. I appreciate your attendance and time you're taking to join us as we celebrate this group of young people and the graduation today. We're going to walk through our graduates one at a time. Isaiah Gibson. Isaiah is graduating with OSHA 10 Core Construction Certification, and he's employed with Austin Bridge and Road.
As far as me personally, I got out of prison 5 months ago. I've been able to receive employment, receive certifications. I just am grateful and I thank them for that.
Here at TxDOT, we created the Connect You to Jobs brand specifically for this partnership with the infrastructure bill coming through. We have a lot of projects in the state. We're growing rapidly with a lot of people moving here.
We have programs in infrastructure. We have programs in retail, logistics, advanced manufacturing. There are several different program tracks that we have that we fund and we help promote. And all of them we like to be industry driven.
There's a lot of demand on our workforce. And so to address that, we created this program. We bring the industry to the table from a TxDOT perspective and employers, but the board's mission is connecting trainees or labor with employers.
Connect You to Jobs, not only do we give them the access to the construction training as far as heavy equipment operator and the core construction, but we do include life skills. I would say one of the best parts of our program is that we do employer trainings as well. So we don't just leave it up to the participants to learn skills and be better in employment, but we go to the employers, we go to their sites and do a training on what it's like to work with emerging adults and how to use trauma-informed care.
In the construction industry, we have a tough time finding talent. So this provides an opportunity as a resource to recruit talent. By coming into our industry, we begin to teach you those skills, provide you those opportunities for advancement, and not just, again, you're not just coming to a job, you come into a career, a long-term career that can benefit both you as well as your family.
Through Connect You to Jobs, I've been with the same company that I've been with for 1.5 years. You know, and it's a very stable job. I have a family, I have a daughter, you know, I have a wife. And during the interview, when I talked to the interviewers, I told them I want to be able to take care of my family. I want to be able to provide. It was, you know, very life-changing.
I have a boy and a girl. I have a 7-year-old and a 3-year-old. So, you know, I just did 3 years incarcerated. So I missed a lot of their life, and I'm not trying to miss any more of it. And I feel like I owe them a lot for missing that much of their life.
So where do you go from here?
To the top, all the way to the top.
Okie doke. So that, let me, Sherry, there we go. Okay, so that's what we do. I mean, that's why I wanted to show you an example of the video, and we have tons of other states that we could focus on as well. We just want to make an impact one life at a time, help people get jobs, help these projects get built. And I love sharing those success stories. So if you have any, let me know. We're trying to put them on our website. And I also want to make y'all aware of the grant that came out last week. It came out last Wednesday, the Highway Construction Training Program. I know we love our acronyms. So we had the Highway Construction Workforce Partnership. Now we have the Highway Construction Training Program. And I'll put a link in the chat. So y'all can go if you want to check it out. It's grants.gov. The recipients of this grant, it's a $4 million grant, $4.2 million, and each recipient could receive up to $300,000. And you have to be either a state DOT or you can be an institute of, not higher education, just any education. So there could be a high school that you're working with in your state that would like to put in an application. And it's basically to start up these working groups or to continue growing these working groups and these partnerships. So we've had quite a bit of interest. There's the grant is open for about 2 months. I believe the deadline will be in June to submit those. And Clark Martin is going to be the program manager on that, but it's in grants.gov. We'll be featured in our newsletter, and I hope that y'all apply. So any questions? Jessica's writing some. Hey, Jessica. Wants to keep you
I'm on
muted.
2 different devices. If we were a recipient of the last HCWP grant, are we ineligible?
Everybody's eligible. You are not ineligible. You are eligible to apply. Just keep in mind that this is state DOTs, but it could also be, educational institutions. So it's opened it up a little broader.
Okay.
So yes, please apply. Last time we did have this grant opportunity. It was also, it's around 4 million, maybe it was 4.2, but we had about 21 applications put in and we were only able to award 11. And back then we didn't have this full strategic workforce development program. Now we've got 43 states saying, hey, we see this as an important initiative. So we anticipate we'll get quite a few applications in, but don't let that stop you. Please put in an application. Any other questions? Okay, thank y'all for your time, for letting me sit in.